This is the life of the richest black journalist in the world. You would think journalism is a bad profession until you meet the richest black journalist in the world. While many see it as just a means to an end, one person turned it into a pathway to wealth. Get your pen and paper because you might need to take lessons as we unveil who this trailblazer is. Oprah Winfrey, a renowned journalist, the queen of daytime television, and a top TV host in the United States with a net worth of $2.5 billion, holds the title of the richest black journalist. Beyond her impeccable storytelling, emotional interviews, and impressive career in broadcasting, she is also a highly intelligent business mogul and real estate lover, owning lands of over $106 million and a luxury private jet of over $75 million. One would wonder how she became a woman with such affluence. Well, it's no magic, but hard work. Ever wondered how Oprah did it? Well, here's how. Born on January 29, 1954 in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, a small, insignificant town where everyone was poor and racism dominated, Orpah Gail Winfrey lived a life of poverty. Did you know that she was actually named Orpah after the biblical figure in the book of Ruth? In fact, her first name was spelled Orpah on her birth certificate, but people mispronounced it so many times that Oprah stuck. Well, with Oprah's current wealth and power, it is easy to imagine that she had been born rich, but she wasn't. Her mother was Vernita Lee, a housemaid with nothing to her name. Her father was Vernon Winfrey. Vernon mined coal, but later exchanged the shovel for a pair of scissors, becoming a barber when things turned difficult in the mines. From being a local barber, he later became a city councilman, but that was several years down the road. Her parents were never married. In fact, Oprah was raised by her grandmother on a farm. Life on the farm was terrible. The farm had no running water or electricity, and they barely had enough to eat. In an interview where she spoke about her childhood, Oprah herself said, "I was poor, but I did not know it." That statement alone tells us everything we need to know about Oprah. Even in the midst of obvious poverty, her simple heart was too immersed in nature and her grandmother's love to be worried about what she lacked. Unfortunately, that did not last very long. For the first 6 years of her life, Oprah lived with Hattie Mae Lee, her maternal grandmother, in Mississippi, and they were so poor that all of Oprah's dresses were made from potato sacks. She and her grandmother would sew the sacks together into simple dresses so she would have something to wear to shield her from the harsh weather. Not only was the weather harsh, but the children in Mississippi were also incredibly mean. They would gather around her and laugh at her sack clothes, but Oprah did not mind. She was incredibly loved by her grandmother, and she tried to focus on that. Hattie Mae Lee did something significant for Oprah. She taught her to read even before she turned 3, and she was the one who lit the fire of love Oprah grew to have for books. That fire soon became a burning furnace and exploded into the empire we all admire. Even as a toddler, her gift for oration couldn't be hidden.
I was the one that was always playing the teacher.
She went to church often with her grandmother, and at just 3 years old, she could recite Bible verses to congregations. In fact, this talent made everyone call her the preacher. Unfortunately, no one believed Oprah when she cried for help, even her own mother. Imagine not being believed by your own mother, who is supposed to protect you. In fact, to shut her up, she was sent to a juvenile detention home at 13. This must have hurt her incredibly, but it might have also given her some relief. At the juvenile home, she would be free from the abuse at least. Unfortunately, to add to the pathetic scene, the juvenile home returned her to her mother's home shortly after because they had run out of beds. With this depressing twist, Oprah ran away from her city. From Milwaukee, she ran to Nashville, Tennessee, where her father lived, and this turned out to be one of the best decisions young Oprah would make. Her father was quite disciplined, and the stability he brought to her life, even if for a short while, was what she needed most. He loved education and hard work and made sure to teach her to honor those values too throughout her life. Winfrey said, "When my father took me, it changed the course of my life. He saved me. He simply knew what he wanted and expected. He would take nothing less." It was in Nashville that Oprah finally went to high school, and she also began to do quite well academically and socially. Winfrey attended Lincoln Middle and High School in Milwaukee, but because she was so intelligent and because she succeeded in the Upward Bound program, she was transferred to the affluent suburban Nicolet High School. This school was far from where her father lived, so she had to move in with her mother again. However, though the school was an educational upgrade, it was not an educational upgrade socially. In another interview, Winfrey revealed that the kids in school made sure to remind her every day that she was poor. It was a mixed-race school, but almost all the African-American kids were poor. Some of them were even servants of other classmates' families. Because she wanted the harassment to end, she began to steal money from her mother. She would steal little change so she she could spend as much as her rich mates spent. Her mother got very fed up immediately and chased her right back to her father in Nashville. Vernon was only happy to have her. He was a strict parent, but strict was what she needed, especially since he balanced it by being encouraging and nurturing. He cared for her and made her education a priority, and Winfrey flourished under his care. Back in East Nashville High School, she finally began to do quite well academically and socially. Her talents even began to shine. She became an honors student and was voted most popular girl in the high school. She became an active member of the speech team and placed second in a nationwide drama competition. She became such a unique student, and it was all because of her charisma and intelligence. It was in this school that her interest in journalism grew. I bet you never knew these things about the famous Oprah Winfrey. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our next tea. Her first job at the age of 17 was at a local store, but Winfrey was very adventurous. She won the Miss Black Tennessee beauty pageant and also attracted the attention of the local black radio station, WVOL. This station later hired her during her senior year to do the news part-time. What started as a need to get some money turned out to be a career that blossomed into the career she now enjoys. It was at this station that she first began to gather hands-on experience in broadcasting, and soon she fell in love with storytelling. While still doing the news, she won an oratory contest and was awarded a full scholarship to Tennessee State University, which was a historically black institution. She accepted the scholarship and studied communication. Even with the admission, she did not quit work. She worked in the station until her first 2 years of college. However, she did not deliver her final paper and receive her degree until 1987, when she was already a successful television personality. Winfrey always acknowledged her grandmother's influence on her career in public speaking.
It was the greatest relief of my life, and I found out that the people who loved me.
She said it was Hattie Mae who gave me a positive sense of myself. Her grandmother herself once said that ever since Winfrey could talk, she played games interviewing her corncob doll and the crows on the fence of her family's property. Away from her grandmother and father, every other family member of hers was quite problematic. Apart from her first half-sister, Oprah had another half-sister, but her mother placed her for adoption at birth. In fact, Oprah did not even know of her existence until 2010. Oprah also had a half-brother, Jeffrey, who tragically died of AIDS in 1989. But even her first half-sister struggled. Pat struggled with addiction until she passed away in 2003. But all of these didn't impede her path to success at all. She soon became a news anchor on WLAC TV. Did you know she was both the youngest and the first black female news anchor at Nashville's WLAC TV, a CBS affiliate in Nashville? It was on this TV that she first began to cover the news. She was even covering the same stories as a popular anchor, John Tesh, who worked at a different Nashville station and soon became her rival anchor. It was a groundbreaking achievement, but it also opened her up to many critics. Even her natural charisma and emotional depth were criticized, saying she did not fit the mold of a traditional news anchor. They labeled her style too emotional, but Oprah did not change her style. Instead, she allowed it to become her unique quality. Well, in 1976, she moved to Baltimore's WJZ-TV to co-anchor the 6 o'clock news. However, because of criticism, in 1977, she was removed as co-anchor and demoted to lower positions at the station. She endured these moments until she was hired to join Richard Scher as co-host of WJZ's local talk show, People Are Talking, which premiered on August 14, 1978. It was here that Oprah began to hone the conversational, empathetic style that would later make her a household name. She also hosted the local version of Dialing for Dollars. In 1984, Winfrey was hired by WLS-TV's general manager, Dennis Swanson, to host their low-rated half-hour morning talk show, AM Chicago. So, to Chicago, Oprah went. The first episode of the show was aired on January 2, 1984. Within just a few months after she took over, the show went from last place in the ratings to first place. She even overtook Donahue, the reigning king of talk shows, to become the highest-rated talk show in Chicago. Because of this massive success, Roger Ebert, a movie critic, advised her to sign a deal with King World because he was sure she would generate 40 times as much revenue as his television show at the movies. Oprah took this advice, and The Oprah Winfrey Show was birthed later. This show ran for an hour and was later known as The Oprah Winfrey Show. It was also nationally syndicated. The first episode was broadcast nationwide on September 8, 1986, and it attracted double Donahue's national audience. It even displaced Donahue as the #1 daytime talk show in America. Her show was not a normal television show. Her natural ability to connect with her audience and her bold desire to break barriers by discussing topics that were considered taboo for daytime television back then, topics like racism, abuse, LGBTQ+ issues, etc., set her up for greatness. She made it even better by introducing celebrity interviews and book club selections. Time magazine in August 1988 reported, "Few people would have bet on Oprah Winfrey's swift rise to host of the most popular talk show on TV. In a field dominated by white males, she is a black female of ample bulk. As interviewers go, she is no match for, say, Phil Donahue. What she lacks in journalistic toughness, she makes up for in plain-spoken curiosity, robust humor, and above all, empathy."
Oh, I usually go through like 10, 12 books before I get to the real thing. I read like...
Guests with sad stories to tell are apt to rouse a tear in Oprah's eye. They, in turn, often find themselves revealing things they would not imagine telling anyone, much less a national TV audience. It is the talk show as a group therapy session. In the early years of the Oprah Winfrey Show, the program was classified as a tabloid talk show. So she diversified in the mid-1990s and began to host shows on broader topics like heart disease, geopolitics, spirituality, and meditation. She spiced it up by interviewing celebrities on social issues they were directly involved with, issues like cancer, charity work, or substance abuse. She even hosted televised giveaways. However, critics rose again and accused her of promoting junk science because some of her guests made medical commentaries without supporting science. Many publications even called on Oprah to denounce medical statements made by her former guests long after her show ended. For example, there were calls for her to denounce Dr. Oz in 2020 following his reaction to his comments about the coronavirus and his promotion of a poorly vetted drug as a cure. But even with all these distractions, her show did quite well. With this success, Winfrey did more. She produced and co-starred in the drama miniseries The Women of Brewster Place in 1989. She also hosted and appeared on other television shows. She then proceeded to be the co-founder of the women's cable television network Oxygen, which was the initial network for her Oprah After the Show program. The show ran from 2002 to 2006 before moving to Oprah.com when Winfrey sold her stake in the network. But Oprah's genius was not limited to what appeared on screen. In 1988, she launched Harpo Productions. Did you know that Harpo is simply Oprah spelled backward? With this launch, she became the first black woman to own and produce her own show. By choosing to launch the production, she ensured that she retained creative control of her shows and that the financial rewards were hers to enjoy. Her production company soon produced films, television series, and multimedia projects. Suddenly, Oprah was not only a journalist but a business mogul too. Oprah launched OWN in 2011, Oprah Winfrey Network. This was her very own cable network in partnership with Discovery Communications. Though it struggled initially, it soon became a success like the rest, thanks to hit shows like Greenleaf, Queen Sugar, and The Haves and the Have-Nots. She even launched a magazine in 2000, O Magazine. The Oprah magazine became one of the most successful print publications of its time. Its pages carried inspirational articles and many ads. Oprah's influence extended into film and publishing in Hollywood, where she produced and acted in critically acclaimed films like The Color Purple and Selma. Her book club selections also became instant bestsellers, creating what industry insiders soon began to label the Oprah effect. Oprah's financial acumen is another reason for her extraordinary wealth. She made early investments in companies like Weight Watchers and real estate. She also purchased multi-million-dollar properties in California, Hawaii, and Colorado. Now let's look at the lavish lifestyle of the richest black journalist in the world. Oprah is not just rich, she is very wealthy. She has used her massive wealth to acquire some of the most magnificent properties in the world, and from her properties you can tell that she has quite an expensive taste. One of her many properties is the Promised Land in Montecito, California. This is a 70-acre estate in Montecito, which she bought in 2001 for a whopping $52 million from Southern California industrialist Robert Veloz. The estate is now valued at over $100 million. The Neo-Georgian main house has 6 bedrooms, 14 bathrooms, and multiple living spaces. The view is breathtaking. You can see into the Pacific Ocean and the Santa Ynez Mountains. The estate also includes formal rose gardens with over 600 varieties of roses, a tea house overlooking a tranquil pond, a state-of-the-art wine cellar, an avocado orchard that produces fresh fruit that Oprah often shares with her friends. The property also has an infinity pool that seemingly disappears into the horizon. Oprah reportedly spent millions on renovations, including installing Italian limestone terraces and restoring the estate's oak trees to their full glory. She also has a Maui estate in Hawaii. She purchased this 163 acres of land for a whopping $32 million in 2003. Imagine how much it must cost now. The property includes a charming farmhouse that Oprah renovated into a luxurious retreat. She, Eve, expanded the estate to include sustainable gardens where she grows her own produce. Oprah frequently escapes here for peace and inspiration and describes Maui as her soul home. She also owns an 700-square-foot ski chalet in Telluride, Colorado, which she bought for a staggering $14 million. The property includes a wine cellar, a home theater, and an indoor spa. It also has a private gondola for direct access to the slopes, ensuring Oprah's skiing adventures remain uninterrupted by the public.
I'll sign this for you.
Oh, back up.
Well, in 2018, she also bought Orcas Island in Washington, a 43-acre compound for a massive $8.3 million. Oprah also owns a Gulfstream G650 private jet for approximately $75 million. The jet is customized to her taste, with seating for up to 19 passengers and sleeping accommodations for 10. It carried soft leather seats, plush carpeting, and a color palette of soothing creams and grays. It also has state-of-the-art entertainment systems and high-speed Wi-Fi. What is more, it holds a fully equipped galley that allows its team to prepare gourmet meals mid-flight. Oprah has even spoken about how the jet changed her life. According to her, it has allowed her to travel freely. She said, "It's not about showing off, it's about valuing my time." Oprah also owns a fleet of luxury cars. She blew $450,000 on her custom-built Rolls-Royce Phantom, $90,000 on her Tesla Model S, $110,000 on her luxury Cadillac Escalade ESV, and $100,000 on her Lincoln Navigator. Oprah also has a penchant for vintage classics, including a 1954 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing, which has been rumored to be worth over $1.5 million. She owns diamond masterpieces like a 40-carat diamond necklace from Lorraine Schwartz, valued at $3 million, which she wore to a star-studded gala in 2014, an emerald choker necklace from Cartier, reportedly worth $2 million, and a sapphire bracelet gifted by a close friend. Her diamond earrings are said to be worth upwards of $500,000 per pair, and her watch collection includes the Patek Philippe Grand Complications, valued at $350,000. She is an art collector and lover, and her collection includes works by celebrated black artists such as Jean-Michel Basquiat. Oprah reportedly owns a Basquiat painting valued at $15 million. She also owns several pieces of Kerry James Marshall's art and a few from Georgia O'Keeffe. While Oprah's material possessions are undeniably impressive, they are just one part of her extraordinary life. For her, the greatest treasures have been the lives she has touched and changed. She has had such a profound impact on the lives of millions. Her platform has given a voice to the voiceless and inspired countless individuals to pursue their dreams. However, away from being an inspiration, Oprah also uses her wealth for philanthropy. She has donated hundreds of millions to causes like education and disaster relief. She even has a leadership academy for girls in South Africa. Oprah indeed made waves in the industry and proved you can become more, but there is someone else who silently raised the bar. Check out our video on the richest black actor in the world and you'll be shocked at how much wealth he wields.